The mind now rests in a condition where inquiry has gently released its grip. Thoughts no longer rise with urgency or direction. There is no sense of searching, no quiet tension of wanting to know or understand. Questions have not been answered here. They have simply softened, thinning gradually until they no longer form. What remains is not clarity and not confusion, but a calm presence where the need to ask has dissolved. Awareness feels wide and unpressured, no longer drawn toward any particular idea. Attention does not settle on problems or possibilities. It floats gently, held within a quiet interior space that feels stable and complete. The mind does not move forward or backward. Memory does not pull, and anticipation does not lean ahead. Everything rests within a single, sustained now that does not require explanation. Thoughts, when they arise at all, appear faint and incomplete. They do not gather into structure. They do not connect into sequence. They drift briefly, then dissolve before meaning can assemble. Language loosens its shape. Words no longer organize experience. The mind has stepped beyond narration, entering a state where presence no longer depends on description. There is a gentle spaciousness inside this quiet mind, as though mental boundaries have softened. The edges between one thought and another blur until separation feels unnecessary. Awareness does not feel crowded or empty. It feels balanced, evenly held, without pressure to fill itself or to clear itself. Mental space exists simply because it can, not because it must serve a purpose. Time inside the mind feels diffuse and unmeasured. The idea of moments passing loses relevance. There is no sense of waiting for the next thought or holding on to the last. The present does not move. It rests. Duration thins until sequence dissolves, leaving behind a steady calm that does not progress or resolve. The mind no longer tracks itself. Emotion here feels soft and even. Feelings do not rise sharply or fall away dramatically. They settle into a quiet neutrality, present without intensity. Nothing needs to be processed or released. The emotional landscape rests without effort, as if it has already completed every cycle it once needed to complete. The body, if noticed at all, feels distant and calm. Sensations do not demand attention. Breath flows gently. Without being counted or guided, there is no need to adjust posture or awareness. The mind does not monitor the body. It allows it to exist quietly, without commentary or concern. Silence within this mental space does not arrive after noise. It has always been present, underlying every thought that once appeared. Now it rises gently to the surface, not as absence, but as the natural condition beneath all thinking. There is no echo and no anticipation of the next idea. Silence holds everything evenly. If awareness lingers here, it does so without effort. There is nothing to focus on and nothing to avoid. The mind does not attempt to remain quiet. It simply is. Stillness does not need to be maintained. It sustains itself naturally, without vigilance or control. Memory feels distant and light, no longer forming images or stories. Past experiences do not replay. Future possibilities do not assemble. Identity softens into presence, no longer defined by thought patterns or internal dialogue. The sense of self rests without needing to explain itself. Nothing in this space asks for resolution. There is no sense of completion being reached, and no expectation of something beginning again. This is not a conclusion and not a pause before the next thought. It is a sustained state where questioning has ended not through effort, but through rest. The mind remains here quietly, held within its own calm awareness, allowing every layer of thought, emotion, and identity to soften fully. Nothing needs to be understood. Nothing needs to be followed. Presence continues gently, within a stillness that does not move forward or backward, but simply remains, complete and undisturbed. Block 2. The mind remains settled in this quiet condition, where the absence of questions has created a gentle openness rather than a void. Nothing rushes to fill the space left behind. Awareness rests evenly, no longer pulled toward explanation or resolution. There is no inner movement that needs to be followed, no thread of thought asking to be completed. The mind feels wide and calm, holding itself without effort. Attention does not attach itself to any single point. It does not scan or search. It simply lingers, floating softly within an interior space that feels stable and unchanging. The idea of focus loosens, replaced by a gentle diffusion where awareness is present everywhere at once, without intensity. Nothing stands out. Nothing fades away. Everything feels equally quiet. Thoughts continue to appear only faintly, if they appear at all. They do not arrive with shape or purpose. They form briefly as soft impressions, then dissolve before language can gather around them. The mind does not follow these impressions. It does not attempt to interpret them. They pass naturally, leaving no trace and creating no disturbance. There is a sense of spaciousness here that does not feel empty or full. Mental space exists without needing to be occupied. The mind does not attempt to clear itself, and it does not attempt to engage. It rests comfortably within this balance, where presence does not depend on activity and silence does not require effort. Time inside this mental state feels almost absent. There is no sense of moments unfolding or thoughts being replaced. The present feels steady and sustained, without movement forward or backward. Waiting dissolves completely. Nothing is expected to arrive. Nothing has recently left. The mind remains within a calm now that does not progress. Emotion remains even and soft. Feelings do not rise sharply or fall away abruptly. They exist as gentle tones within awareness, stable and unremarkable. There is no emotional work being done here. Nothing needs to be processed, released, or understood. The emotional field rests quietly, without demand. The sense of self feels light and unassertive. Identity no longer organizes itself around thoughts, preferences, or internal dialogue. The idea of I softens into simple presence, existing without description. The mind does not reflect on itself. It simply remains aware, without commentary or evaluation. The body remains quietly present in the background, if noticed at all. Sensations do not draw attention. Breath moves naturally, uncounted and unguided. There is no impulse to adjust or monitor. The mind does not check the body for signals. It allows everything to remain as it is, undisturbed. Silence within this state feels natural and complete. It does not feel like something achieved or maintained. It simply exists, underlying every layer of awareness. There is no anticipation of the next thought, no echo of the last one. Silence holds the mind gently, without pressure. If awareness lingers here, it does so without effort or intention. There's nothing to stay with and nothing to leave. The mind does not attempt to deepen this state. It does not try to prolong it. Stillness sustains itself, calm and unremarkable, without guidance. In this quiet interior, where questions have released their hold and thought has softened into presence, the mind continues to rest gently, allowing awareness to remain open, steady, and undisturbed, within a stillness that does not move forward or backward, but simply continues to be. This quiet interior state continues without effort, as though the mind has settled into a natural balance that no longer requires adjustment. Nothing rises to interrupt it. Nothing sinks away from it. Awareness remains evenly distributed, no longer narrowing around thought or expanding toward expectation. The absence of questions does not feel like loss. It feels like relief. That is fully settled. Attention remains soft, and it does not fix itself on sensations, memories, or ideas. It drifts, gently, touching everything lightly, Without lingering, the mind does not attempt to focus, and it does not resist distraction. Both impulses have dissolved. What remains is a calm presence that does not choose where to rest, because there is no need to choose. Thoughts, when they pass through this space, do so quietly and without form. They appear more as subtle ripples than as ideas. Language does not assemble around them. Meaning does not gather. The mind does not reach outward to follow them or inward to examine them. Each impression fades naturally, leaving the stillness untouched. There is a sense of mental openness that feels stable and sufficient. Space inside the mind does not need to be expanded or protected. It exists without edges that require guarding. Awareness feels neither concentrated nor scattered. It feels balanced, held gently within itself, without tension or effort. Time continues to feel irrelevant here. There is no sense of duration passing or moments accumulating. The present does not stretch or compress. It simply remains steady and quiet. The mind is no longer aware of itself moving through time. Waiting has disappeared entirely. Nothing is expected. Nothing has just occurred. Emotional tone remains calm and neutral. Feelings do not rise into clarity or sink into absence. They exist as soft undercurrents, barely distinguishable from the stillness itself. There is no emotional narrative unfolding. Nothing needs to be resolved. The emotional field rests as quietly as the thoughts have. The sense of identity continues to soften. The mind does not describe itself. It does not define roles, stories, or boundaries. The idea of self remains only as a gentle awareness, present without commentary. There is no effort to maintain this sense of being. It persists naturally, without reinforcement. The body remains in the background of awareness, calm and undemanding. Sensations do not call for attention. Breath continues in its own rhythm, unnoticed and uncounted. There is no impulse to adjust posture or monitor comfort. The mind trusts the body completely, allowing it to exist without supervision. Silence here feels complete and effortless. It does not come after sound and does not wait to be broken. It is not fragile and does not require protection. Even the memory of noise feels distant and irrelevant. Silence holds the mind gently, without closing it or containing it. If awareness remains here, it does so lightly, without intention or effort. There is nothing to deepen and nothing to leave behind. The mind does not attempt to sustain this state. It simply continues to rest within it, as naturally as breathing continues without thought. In this interior quiet, where every question has ended and every need to understand has softened, the mind remains at ease, open and undisturbed, allowing awareness to continue gently within a stillness that does not progress or resolve, but simply remains calm and complete. Block 3. The mind continues to rest within this quiet openness, and within that calm, a single interior moment becomes gently apparent without demanding attention. There is no thought forming and no feeling rising. What remains is a soft field of awareness, evenly spread, where presence does not lean toward anything in particular. The mind feels settled in itself, as if it has learned how to remain without needing to occupy itself. Attention does not move across this mental space. It does not shift from one sensation to another. It simply exists, diffuse and unpressured, touching everything lightly without engaging. There is no center of focus and no edge of awareness. The mind feels wide and even, holding itself without effort or direction. Thought no longer organizes experience here. Ideas do not link together or unfold into sequence. When a trace of thinking appears, it does so faintly and without structure, dissolving before language can gather around it. The mind does not follow these tracers. It allows them to fade naturally, leaving the stillness untouched. There is a gentle sense of mental spaciousness that does not feel empty or full. Space inside the mind exists without needing to be filled or cleared. It feels stable and sufficient, as though nothing more could be added and nothing needs to be removed. Awareness rests comfortably within this balance, without tension. Time inside this interior state feels almost absent. There is no awareness of moments passing or states changing. The present does not feel extended or brief. It feels steady, sustained, and complete. The mind is no longer aware of itself moving through time. It simply remains. Emotion continues to rest in a softened and neutral tone. Feelings do not rise sharply or recede noticeably. They remain as quiet undercurrents within awareness, stable and unremarkable. There is no emotional work being done. Nothing is being processed or resolved. The emotional field remains calm and undisturbed. The sense of self feels especially light here. Identity no longer gathers around thoughts, memories, or roles. The idea of me has softened into simple awareness, present without description. The mind does not reflect on itself or attempt to define itself. It exists without commentary. The body remains quietly present, if noticed at all. Sensations do not call for attention. Breath flows naturally, without being observed or guided. There is no impulse to adjust or check. The mind allows the body to exist peacefully, without supervision or concern. Silence within this state feels natural and complete. It does not arrive after noise. It has always been present, underlying every thought that once appeared. Now it rests openly, without interruption. There is no anticipation of the next idea, and no echo of the last. Silence holds the mind gently. If awareness lingers here, it does so without effort or intention. There is nothing to focus on and nothing to avoid. The mind does not try to deepen this quiet. It does not try to maintain it. Stillness sustains itself naturally, without guidance. In this interior moment, where thought has softened fully and questioning has ended, the mind continues to rest in a calm presence, allowing awareness to remain open, steady, and undisturbed, within a stillness that does not move forward or backward, but simply continues to be. This interior quiet continues to hold itself without effort, deepening not through movement or intention, but through sustained stillness that no longer needs to be recognized as such. The mind does not arrive here. It does not descend or transition. It simply remains, as though it has always rested at this depth, waiting only for questioning to release its hold. Awareness does not shift or adjust. It stays evenly present, neither expanding outward nor contracting inward, existing as a gentle, continuous field where nothing asks to be named or resolved. Attention in this state does not behave as focus or observation. It does not move toward sensations, thoughts, or feelings, and it does not withdraw from them either. It exists without preference, touching everything lightly, without attachment. The mind no longer selects what should be noticed or ignored. Whatever appears does so quietly, without importance, and whatever fades leaves no imprint behind. Presence does not cling. It allows. Thought has nearly lost its capacity to organize experience. When traces of thinking arise, they appear only as faint impressions, more like distant echoes than formed ideas. They do not gather language around themselves. Words do not assemble. Images do not sharpen. Meaning does not follow. Each impression softens almost immediately, dissolving back into the same stillness from which it briefly emerged, leaving the interior space unchanged. There is a sense of inner space here that feels continuous and unbroken, not as a gap between thoughts, but as the underlying condition beneath all mental activity. This space does not feel empty, and it does not feel full. It feels sufficient. It does not need to be protected, expanded, or clarified. It exists naturally, stable and even, allowing awareness to rest without effort, without intention, and without vigilance. Time inside this interior state no longer registers. There is no awareness of duration passing or moments replacing one another. The present does not feel like a point in a sequence. It feels sustained and unmoving, as though sequence itself has dissolved. The mind is no longer aware of itself existing within time. Waiting has ended completely. Nothing is anticipated. Nothing is recalled. The sense of now holds itself without motion. Emotion continues to rest in a softened, neutral tone. Feelings do not rise sharply into awareness, and they do not sink away into absence. They remain as gentle, indistinct tones within the field of awareness, blending seamlessly with stillness. There is no emotional narrative unfolding here. Nothing needs to be processed, examined, or released. Emotional balance holds itself quietly, without effort or intervention. The sense of identity continues to thin and soften. The mind no longer locates itself within thoughts, memories, preferences, or internal dialogue. The idea of self no longer gathers around description. What remains is a gentle awareness of being, present without definition. There is no effort to maintain this sense of existence. It persists naturally, without reinforcement or reflection. The body remains distant and calm, held lightly within awareness, without drawing attention. Sensations do not announce themselves. There is no need to check comfort or position. Breath continues in its own slow rhythm, unnoticed and uncounted, moving without instruction. The mind no longer supervises the body, it trusts it completely, allowing physical presence to rest without commentary or concern. Silence within this interior state feels complete and effortless. It does not follow sound, and it does not wait to be broken. There is no echo of previous thought, and no anticipation of the next. Silence is not something surrounding the mind. It is the condition in which the mind rests. It holds everything evenly, without enclosing or limiting, allowing awareness to remain open and If awareness remains here, it does so without intention. There is no attempt to stay, and no impulse to leave. The mind does not try to deepen this quiet or protect it. Stillness sustains itself naturally, without guidance or control, as though effort itself is gently withdrawn. In this interior stillness, where every question has fully ended, and even the habit of thinking has softened beyond form, the mind continues to rest gently and completely, open and undisturbed, allowing awareness to remain calm and diffuse within a silence that does not progress or resolve, but simply continues to be steady, sufficient, and quietly present. Block 4. The mind remains settled in this softened condition, and within that calm an even deeper layer of interior quiet becomes gently apparent, not as a new state, but as a continuation of the same rest. Nothing shifts to reveal it. Nothing opens or closes. It is simply noticed, as though awareness has relaxed enough to feel what was already present beneath every previous layer of thought. The mind does not move toward this depth. It allows itself to remain where it is, and the depth reveals itself naturally. Awareness here feels broad and evenly distributed, without center or edge. It does not concentrate on a point, and it does not spread outward intentionally. It exists as a gentle field, stable and unpressured, where nothing stands out and nothing recedes. The sense of mental space feels continuous, without boundaries that need to be explored or defined. The mind is no longer oriented toward anything. It rests without direction. Thought activity has softened further, thinning beyond trace. When a fragment of thinking appears, it does not form into an idea. It arrives as a faint sensation of movement, then dissolves before recognition can occur. There is no impulse to follow it, and no habit of returning to it. The mind no longer relates to thought as content. It allows it to pass without leaving imprint or residue. There is a deep sense of interior stability here, not created by control or effort, but by the absence of disturbance. The mind does not attempt to maintain this calm. It does not check whether it is still present. It does not fear losing it. Stillness holds itself naturally, as though vigilance has quietly stepped aside and rest has taken its place. Time within this state feels almost entirely irrelevant. There is no awareness of duration passing or states unfolding. The present does not feel like a moment between others. It feels whole and sustained, without beginning or end. The mind is no longer aware of itself existing across time. It exists only as presence, steady and unchanging. Emotion within this layer of awareness feels deeply settled. Feelings do not move toward clarity or intensity. They do not seek expression or release. They remain as subtle tones, barely distinguishable from the stillness itself. Emotional balance does not feel achieved. It feels assumed, as though nothing could disturb it from within. The sense of self continues to soften, becoming less a point of reference and more a quiet background presence. Identity no longer gathers around thought, memory, or role. The mind does not define itself or observe itself. It simply remains aware, without reflection or commentary. Being feels light, unburdened by description. The body remains quietly present, if noticed at all. Sensations do not rise into attention. There is no impulse to scan for comfort or tension. Breath continues gently, without rhythm being tracked or guided. The mind does not manage the body. It allows physical existence to unfold on its own, without interference. Silence within this state feels expansive and gentle, not enclosing or empty. It does not feel like the absence of sound, but like the natural atmosphere in which awareness rests. There is no anticipation of thought returning and no memory of it leaving. Silence does not surround the mind. It permeates it, allowing everything to remain open and unpressured. If awareness lingers here, it does so effortlessly. There's no intention to stay, no impulse to move away. The mind does not attempt to deepen this quiet or stabilize it. Stillness sustains itself naturally, without guidance, without effort, and without the need to be recognized. In this interior layer, where rest has become deeper, not through movement but through release, the mind continues to remain quietly present, allowing awareness to settle fully within a calm that does not progress or resolve, but simply continues to be steady, spacious, and undisturbed. This deeper interior quiet continues without transition, as though the mind has gently crossed a threshold without noticing that any crossing occurred. There is no sense of having arrived somewhere new. The calm simply remains, broad and evenly held, allowing awareness to rest without needing to orient itself. Nothing inside the mind suggests movement or progression. What exists here feels settled beyond adjustment, as if the mind has learned how to remain without monitoring itself. Awareness feels especially open in this state, not expanding outward and not gathering inward. It exists as a continuous field, smooth and unbroken, where no single sensation, thought, or feeling claims priority. Attention no longer behaves as something that can be directed. It rests naturally, touching everything lightly without engaging. There is no scanning, no checking, no return to focus. The mind has released the habit of choosing where to rest. Thought has thinned even further, losing its capacity to organize or comment. When a trace of thinking arises, it does so faintly, almost imperceptibly, dissolving before it can take shape. There are no words forming, no images assembling. Meaning does not gather. Thought passes like a soft ripple across still water, leaving the surface unchanged. The mind does not follow and does not resist. It hallows. It hallows. The inner space that holds this stillness feels continuous and sufficient. It does not feel like an absence waiting to be filled, and it does not feel like a fullness that could overflow. It feels complete as it is. There is no need to protect this space or expand it. It exists naturally, stable and calm, allowing awareness to rest without effort or intention. Time within this interior state has released nearly all sense of structure. The mind no longer registers duration or sequence. There is no feeling of time passing slowly or quickly. The present does not replace another moment. It simply remains, sustained and unmoving. Waiting has ended completely. There is nothing expected and nothing remembered. Awareness exists outside of progression. Emotion continues to rest in a deeply neutral state. Feelings do not rise toward intensity or clarity. They remain as gentle tones within awareness, blending seamlessly with the stillness itself. There is no emotional processing happening here. Nothing needs to be felt more fully or released. Emotional balance sustains itself quietly, without effort or attention. The sense of identity softens further, becoming less defined with each moment that remains unmarked by thought. The mind does not locate itself within experience. There is no inner voice, narrating or observing. The idea of self exists only as a faint sense of presence, unbound by description. Being does not need to be confirmed. It simply continues. The body remains quietly present in the background of awareness. Sensations do not draw attention or request adjustment. Breath continues in its own gentle rhythm, unnoticed and uncounted. There is no impulse to monitor comfort or posture. The mind has released its role as supervisor, allowing the body to exist peacefully on its own. Silence here feels expansive and stable, not as the absence of sound, but as the underlying condition of awareness itself. There is no anticipation of thought returning and no echo of mental activity fading. Silence does not surround the mind. It permeates it, allowing everything to remain open, soft, and if awareness continues to linger here, it does so without intention. There is no effort to remain, and no impulse to leave. The mind does not attempt to deepen or preserve this state. Stillness sustains itself naturally, without guidance or control, as though effort itself has gently withdrawn completely. In this deeper interior.com, where questioning has long since ended and even the habit of noticing is softened, the mind continues to rest quietly within itself, allowing awareness to remain diffuse, steady, and undisturbed, held within a stillness that does not progress or resolve, but simply continues to be open, sufficient, and at ease. Block 5. The mind continues to rest within this quiet interior, and the calm that holds it feels even more settled, not because anything has deepened, but because nothing remains that could disturb its balance. There is no sense of entering a new layer, and no feeling of having arrived somewhere else. What exists here does not announce itself as a state. It simply remains steady and unremarkable, as though rest itself has become the most natural condition the mind can inhabit. Awareness no longer orients itself around activity or absence. It does not look for sensation, and it does not avoid it. It does not lean toward thought, and it does not retreat from it. Attention feels evenly distributed, present without preference, touching everything lightly without engaging. There is no center that pulls awareness inward, and no edge that draws it outward. The mind feels wide, calm, and quietly sufficient. Thought has softened beyond usefulness. When a trace appears, it does not assemble into language or image. It does not ask to be followed or completed. It arises as a faint stirring, barely distinguishable from stillness, and dissolves before awareness can recognize it as thinking. There is no habit of continuation here. The mind does not pick up threads, because there are no threads to gather. The interior space in which this stillness rests feels continuous and uninterrupted. It does not feel like a container holding experience, and it does not feel like an expanse stretching outward. It feels like the underlying condition of awareness itself, There is no sense of emptiness needing to be filled, and no sense of fullness needing to be reduced. Space exists simply because awareness exists, stable and complete. Time within this interior quiet has released nearly all meaning. There is no awareness of duration passing, and no sense of sequence unfolding. The present does not feel like a moment replacing another. It feels sustained and unmoving, as though time has loosened its grip and stepped aside. Waiting no longer exists. Nothing is anticipated. Nothing is recalled. Awareness remains without reference to before or after. Emotion has settled into a gentle neutrality that feels deeply restful. Feelings do not rise into clarity or intensity. They do not fade dramatically or seek resolution. They exist as subtle tones within awareness, so softened that they blend seamlessly with the calm itself. There is no emotional work being done here. Everything that needed to settle has already settled. The sense of identity continues to thin until it no longer organizes experience at all. There is no internal voice describing what is happening. There is no observer standing apart from awareness. The idea of self no longer gathers around memory, preference, or thought. What remains is a simple sense of being, present without description, light and unburdened by definition. The body remains quietly present, if noticed at all, resting in the background of awareness without demand. Sensations do not rise to claim attention. Breath flows gently and naturally, without being followed or guided. There is no impulse to adjust posture, no need to check comfort. The mind has fully released its role as supervisor, allowing the body to exist peacefully on its own. Silence within this interior state feels deep and steady, not because sound has faded, but because sound no longer feels relevant. There is no anticipation of thoughts returning and no echo of mental activity fading away. Silence does not surround awareness. It permeates it, forming the quiet atmosphere in which everything rests. If awareness lingers here, it does so without intention. There is no effort to remain, and no impulse to move away. The mind does not attempt to deepen this calm or protect it. Stillness sustains itself naturally, without guidance, without control, and without the need to be recognized. In this interior stillness, where every question has long since ended and even the habit of noticing is softened, the mind continues to rest quietly within itself, allowing awareness to remain open, diffuse, and undisturbed, held within a calm that does not progress or resolve, but simply continues to be. Gentle, spacious, and complete. This interior calm continues to hold itself without any sense of effort, as though the mind has fully released the need to arrive anywhere else. Nothing settles further, and nothing lifts away. What remains feels stable and sufficient, not because it is being maintained, but because there is nothing left that could disturb it. The mind does not observe this quiet. It does not evaluate it. It simply remains within it, as naturally as the body continues to breathe without instruction. Awareness feels especially light here, no longer resting on any particular layer of experience. It does not attach itself to sensation, thought, or emotion. It does not hover or drift with intention. It exists evenly, spread gently across the whole interior field, without center and without edge. Nothing stands out as important, and nothing recedes into the background. Everything feels equally quiet and equally present. Thought has thinned almost completely beyond recognition. When a faint impression arises, it does not form into a question, an idea, or an image. It appears briefly as a subtle movement within stillness, then dissolves before it can gather shape. There is no impulse to follow it, and no habit of resisting it. The mind has released its relationship with thought entirely, allowing stillness to remain untouched. The inner space of awareness feels continuous and unbroken, not as something created by the absence of thought, but as the underlying condition that has always been present. This space does not need to be widened or clarified. It does not feel like a gap or an expanse. feels quietly complete, holding awareness without pressure, without expectation, and without the need to change. Time here feels fully dissolved. There is no sense of duration passing, and no awareness of sequence. The present does not replace another moment. It simply exists, sustained and unmoving. The mind no longer relates to itself as something unfolding through time. Waiting has ended completely. Nothing is expected to arrive, and nothing has recently departed. Emotion continues to rest in a deeply settled neutrality. Feelings do not rise toward expression or fade into absence. They remain as gentle, indistinct tones within awareness, so softened that they blend seamlessly with stillness itself. There is no emotional narrative unfolding. Nothing needs to be processed or resolved. Emotional balance sustains itself naturally. The sense of self has softened even further, becoming almost transparent. Identity no longer gathers around memory, preference, or internal dialogue. There is no inner voice describing experience. There's no observer standing apart. What remains is a quiet sense of being, present without description or reference, light and unburdened. The body remains quietly present, resting comfortably without calling attention to itself. Sensations do not announce themselves. Breath continues in its own gentle rhythm, unnoticed and uncounted. There is no impulse to adjust posture or check comfort. The mind trusts the body completely, allowing physical existence to unfold without supervision. Silence within this interior state feels complete and effortless. It does not arrive after sound and does not wait to be broken. There is no echo of previous thought and no anticipation of the next. Silence is not something surrounding awareness. It is the condition in which awareness rests, steady and unpressured. If awareness continues to linger here, it does so without intention or effort. There is no desire to remain and no impulse to leave. The mind does not attempt to deepen or protect this calm. Stillness sustains itself naturally, without guidance or control, as though effort itself has gently withdrawn completely. In this interior quiet, where every question has ended and even the habit of thinking has softened beyond form, the mind continues to rest gently and completely, allowing awareness to remain calm, diffuse, and undisturbed within a silence that does not progress or resolve, but simply continues to be steady, sufficient, and at ease. Block 6. The mind remains within this deep interior calm, and nothing about the quiet suggests that it is fragile or temporary. It does not feel like a state that could be interrupted. It feels like a condition that has always been present, now simply awareness does not shift to recognize this stability. It rests within it naturally, without needing reassurance or confirmation. Attention no longer behaves as something that moves or settles. It does not hover over sensations, and it does not withdraw from them. It exists evenly, diffused across the whole interior field, without preference or direction. There is no impulse to focus, and no impulse to release focus. Both have dissolved into the same gentle neutrality. Awareness simply remains, touching everything lightly, without engagement. Thought has softened beyond trace. When something resembling a thought arises, it does not assemble into language, image, or meaning. It appears as a faint, internal movement, then dissolves before awareness can register it as content. There is no sense of interruption when this happens, because nothing was being held in place. The mind does not relate to these movements as thinking. They pass without consequence. The interior space feels especially stable here, not expanding and not contracting. It does not feel like a container holding experience, and it does not feel like an open expanse. It feels like the natural ground of awareness itself. There is no sense of emptiness needing to be filled or fullness needing to be reduced. Space exists quietly, sufficient and complete. Time has lost nearly all relevance in this state. There is no awareness of duration, no sense of sequence unfolding. The present does not feel like a moment between other moments. It feels sustained and unmoving, as though time itself has stepped aside. Waiting has no meaning here. Nothing is expected to arrive. Nothing has just passed. Emotion continues to rest in a calm neutrality. Feelings do not rise into clarity or fade into absence. They exist as subtle tones within awareness, blending seamlessly with the stillness. There is no emotional work occurring. Nothing is being processed or resolved. Emotional balance holds itself without effort. The sense of identity feels especially light and unassertive. The mind does not locate itself within thought, memory, or sensation. There is no internal narration and no observer standing apart. The idea of self has softened into a simple presence, existing without description or reference. Being does not need to be confirmed. It simply remains. The body stays quietly present in the background of awareness. Sensations do not draw attention or request adjustment. Breath continues gently, unnoticed and uncounted. There is no impulse to check comfort or posture. The mind has fully released its supervisory role, allowing the body to exist peacefully on its own. Silence within this interior state feels expansive and steady, not as the absence of sound, but as the underlying atmosphere of awareness itself. There is no anticipation of thought returning and no echo of mental activity fading away. Silence does not surround awareness. It permeates it, allowing everything to remain open and unpressured. If awareness remains here, it does so without intention. There is no effort to stay and no impulse to leave. The mind does not attempt to deepen this calm or protect it. Stillness sustains itself naturally, without guidance or control, as though effort itself is gently withdrawn. In this interior depth, where every question has long since ended and even the habit of noticing has softened, the mind continues to rest quietly within itself, allowing awareness to remain open, steady and undisturbed, held within a calm that does not progress or resolve, but simply continues to be, gentle and complete. This interior stillness continues without any sense of transition, as though the mind has settled into a depth where remaining feels more natural than moving ever could. There is no awareness of holding this calm in place and no concern that it might shift. What exists here feels settled beyond adjustment, resting in a quiet balance that does not require attention. The mind no longer relates to stillness as something present. It simply exists within it, without reference or comparison. Awareness remains evenly diffused across the interior field, no longer behaving as focus or observation. It does not move toward sensation, and it does not withdraw from it. It does not rest on thought, and it does not avoid it. Attention has released its habits entirely, allowing presence to be everywhere without concentrating anywhere. Nothing stands out as important, and nothing fades everything is held lightly, without engagement. Thought activity has softened almost completely beyond recognition. When a faint trace appears, it does not assemble into language or image. It does not suggest a question or a direction. It passes as a subtle internal movement, dissolving before awareness can notice it as content. There is no interruption in this process, because nothing was being followed. The mind does not label these traces as thinking. They arise and fade without meaning. The inner space that holds this calm feels continuous and unbroken. It does not feel like a gap created by silence, and it does not feel like an expanse that can be explored. It feels like the natural ground of awareness itself, stable and sufficient. There is no sense of emptiness needing to be filled, or fullness needing to be reduced. Space exists quietly, without effort, allowing awareness to rest without condition. Time within this interior state has dissolved almost entirely. There is no awareness of duration passing or moments unfolding. The present does not feel like a moment that replaces another. It feels sustained and unmoving, as though sequence itself has gently stepped aside. Waiting is ended completely. Nothing is expected to arrive, and nothing is remembered as having passed. Emotion remains settled in a deep neutrality. Feelings do not rise into clarity or sink into absence. They exist as faint tones within awareness, blending seamlessly with the stillness itself. There is no emotional narrative unfolding here. Nothing needs to be processed, expressed, or released. Emotional balance holds itself naturally, without effort or attention. The sense of identity has softened to the point of transparency. The mind no longer locates itself within thoughts, sensations, or memories. There is no inner voice narrating experience, and no observer standing apart. What remains is a quiet sense of being, present without description or boundary. Existence does not need to be defined. It simply continues. The body remains quietly present, resting comfortably without calling attention to itself. Sensations do not announce themselves or request adjustment. Breath continues in its own gentle rhythm, unnoticed and uncounted. There is no impulse to check comfort or posture. The mind trusts the body completely, allowing physical presence to unfold without supervision. Silence here feels complete and effortless, not because sound is faded, but because sound no longer feels relevant. There is no anticipation of thought returning and no echo of previous mental activity. Silence is not something that surrounds awareness. It is the condition in which awareness rests, steady and If awareness lingers here, it does so without intention or effort. There is no desire to remain and no impulse to leave. The mind does not attempt to deepen or protect this calm. Stillness sustains itself naturally, without guidance or control, as though effort itself has gently withdrawn entirely. In this interior depth, where every question is fully ended, and even the sense of observing is softened, the mind continues to rest quietly and completely, allowing awareness to remain diffuse, steady, and undisturbed, held within a silence that does not progress or resolve, but simply continues to be sufficient, gentle, and at ease. Block 7. The mind remains settled within this deep, interior quiet, and nothing about the stillness suggests that it is fragile, temporary, or dependent on conditions. It does not feel like a state being maintained. It feels like the natural ground that was always present beneath every question, every effort to understand, every movement of thought. Now that questioning is ended, this ground reveals itself without announcement, steady and unremarkable. Awareness here does not feel like something that belongs to the mind. It feels more like a gentle openness in which the mind itself rests. There is no effort to remain aware and no fear of awareness fading. Presence does not flicker or fluctuate. It remains evenly held, without intensity and without dullness, balanced in a way that does not require adjustment or protection. Attention has released all of its previous habits. It no longer moves toward sensation or retreats from it. It does not linger on feeling or pass over it. It exists without direction, touching everything lightly and then letting it be. There is no scanning, no narrowing, no widening. Awareness feels evenly distributed, like a quiet field that does not favor any point within it. Thought has softened beyond function. When a trace appears, it does not assemble into language, image, or meaning. It does not suggest a question or a conclusion. It appears only as a faint internal stirring and dissolves before it can be recognized as content. The mind does not relate to these stirrings as thoughts. They pass without consequence, leaving the stillness unchanged. The interior space that holds this calm feels continuous and uninterrupted. It does not feel like something created by silence. It feels like the underlying condition in which silence and sound once appeared. This space does not need to be expanded or clarified. It exists naturally, sufficient and stable, allowing awareness to rest without effort or intention. Time has nearly vanished from this interior experience. There is no awareness of moments unfolding or states shifting. The present does not feel like a point in a sequence. It feels sustained and unmoving, as though time itself has gently stepped aside. Waiting has no meaning here. Nothing is expected to arrive. Nothing is remembered as having passed. Emotion remains settled in a deep neutrality. Feelings do not rise toward intensity or fade into absence. They exist as gentle tones within awareness, so softened that they blend seamlessly with the stillness itself. There is no emotional narrative unfolding. Nothing needs to be processed or resolved. Emotional balance sustains itself quietly, without effort. The sense of identity is softened further, losing even the faint outlines it once had. The mind no longer locates itself within thought, memory, or sensation. There is no internal narration and no observer standing apart. What remains is a quiet sense of being, present without description, light and unburdened by definition. The body remains quietly present in the background of awareness. Sensations do not draw attention or request adjustment. Breath continues gently, unnoticed and uncounted. There is no impulse to check comfort or posture. The mind has fully released its role as supervisor, allowing physical existence to rest peacefully on its own. Silence here feels expansive and steady, not as the absence of sound, but as the atmosphere in which awareness rests. There is no anticipation of thought returning, and no echo of mental activity fading. Silence does not surround awareness, it permeates it, allowing everything to remain open and unpressured. If awareness lingers here, it does so without intention. There is no effort to stay, and no impulse to leave. The mind does not attempt to deepen this calm or protect it. Stillness sustains itself naturally, without guidance or control, as though effort itself is gently withdrawn. In this interior depth, where every question has long since ended and even the habit of seeking has softened beyond recognition, the mind continues to rest quietly within itself, allowing awareness to remain open, steady, and undisturbed, held within a calm that does not progress or resolve, but simply continues to be gentle, spacious, and complete. This deep interior quiet continues without interruption, as though the mind has settled into a depth where even the idea of remaining has become unnecessary. There is no sense of sustaining this calm and no concern about losing it. What exists here feels entirely self-held, resting in a balance that does not require awareness to watch over it. The mind does not recognize this stillness as something special. It simply exists within it, without comparison or reference. Awareness remains gently diffused, no longer behaving as focus, observation, or monitoring. It does not move toward sensations, and it does not withdraw from them. It does not hover over feeling or drift through memory. Attention has released its habits so completely that it no longer feels like a function at all. Presence exists everywhere at once, without concentrating anywhere, touching experience lightly without engagement. Thought is softened to the point of near absence. When a faint trace arises, it does not form language or image. It does not gather meaning or direction. It appears only as a subtle internal motion, then dissolves before awareness can recognize it as thinking. There is no interruption in this process, because nothing was being followed. The mind no longer relates to these traces as thoughts. They pass like gentle ripples that leave no mark. The inner space that holds this calm feels smooth and continuous, without edges or divisions. It does not feel like an emptiness created by silence, and it does not feel like an expanse waiting to be explored. It feels like the natural ground beneath all experience, stable and sufficient. There is no sense of space needing to be widened or clarified. It exists quietly, allowing awareness to rest without effort or condition. Time here has released all remaining structure. There is no awareness of duration, passing, or moments unfolding. The present does not feel like a moment replacing another. It feels sustained and unmoving, as though sequence itself has dissolved. Waiting has ended entirely. Nothing is expected to arrive, and nothing is remembered as having passed. Awareness exists outside of progression. Emotion remains settled in a deep and even neutrality. Feelings do not rise into clarity or sink into absence. They remain as faint tonal qualities within awareness, so softened that they blend seamlessly with the stillness itself. There is no emotional narrative unfolding here. Nothing needs to be expressed, processed, or resolved. Emotional balance sustains itself naturally. The sense of identity has thinned beyond outline. The mind no longer locates itself within thoughts, sensations, or memories. There is no inner voice narrating experience, and no observer standing apart. What remains is a quiet sense of being, present without description or boundary. Existence does not need to be confirmed. It simply continues. The body remains quietly present, resting comfortably without drawing attention. Sensations do not announce themselves or request adjustment. Breath continues in its own gentle rhythm, unnoticed and uncounted. There is no impulse to monitor comfort or posture. The mind trusts the body completely, allowing physical presence to unfold without supervision. Silence here feels complete and effortless, not because sound has faded, but because sound no longer feels relevant. There is no anticipation of thought returning and no echo of mental activity fading away. Silence is not something surrounding awareness. It is the condition in which awareness rests, steady and unpressured. If awareness continues to linger here, it does so without intention or effort. There is no desire to remain and no impulse to leave. The mind does not attempt to deepen or protect this calm. Stillness sustains itself naturally, without guidance or control, as though effort itself has gently withdrawn entirely. In this interior depth, where every question is fully ended, and even the sense of observing is softened beyond recognition, the mind continues to rest quietly and completely, allowing awareness to remain diffuse, steady, and undisturbed, held within a silence that does not progress or resolve, but simply continues to be sufficient, gentle, and at ease. BLOCK 8. The mind now rests in a condition where even depth has softened, where the idea of layers within awareness no longer applies. There is no sense of moving inward or outward, no impression of settling further or lifting away. What remains feels evenly balanced, as though the mind has released the need to locate itself anywhere at all. Awareness does not arrive here. It simply continues, quiet and sufficient, without needing to recognize itself. Attention no longer behaves as a function that can be directed or withdrawn. It does not hover gently, and it does not drift. It exists as a calm presence, spread evenly across the interior field, without preference and without exclusion. Nothing draws attention, and nothing escapes it. Awareness touches experience so lightly that it no longer feels like contact. It feels like coexistence. Thought has faded to such a degree that even the absence of thought does not register as a change. When a trace arises, it is so faint that it does not form impression or meaning. It does not suggest continuation or interruption. It dissolves almost immediately, leaving no echo behind. The mind does not notice this dissolution because nothing was being held. Stillness remains uninterrupted. The interior space that holds this calm no longer feels like space at all. It does not suggest openness or enclosure. It feels like the natural condition of being aware, without qualities that can be measured or compared. There is no sense of emptiness and no sense of fullness. There is simply presence, stable and unremarkable, existing without contrast. Time has lost its last reference points here. There is no awareness of duration passing, no sense of sequence unfolding. The present does not feel sustained or fleeting. It simply exists, without movement or pause. Waiting no longer has meaning, and memory no longer reaches. Awareness remains without reference to before or after. Emotion has softened into a nearly imperceptible neutrality. Feelings no longer arise as distinguishable states. They blend seamlessly into awareness itself, losing the boundaries that once separated emotion from thought or sensation. There is no emotional tone that requires attention. Balance feels inherent, not achieved. The sense of identity has dissolved almost completely into presence. There is no internal point of reference that could be called me or mine. Awareness does not locate itself. It does not reflect on its own existence. Being continues quietly, without description or narrative, unburdened by any need to define itself. The body remains quietly present, but even this presence feels distant and light. Sensations do not announce themselves. Breath continues gently, unnoticed and unmeasured. There is no impulse to adjust or monitor. The mind no longer supervises physical existence. It allows it to unfold naturally, without interference. Silence here does not feel like the absence of sound. It feels like the underlying condition in which sound and thought once appeared. There is no anticipation of noise returning and no memory of it fading. Silence does not surround awareness. It is inseparable from it, steady and unpressured. If awareness remains here, it does so without intention or effort. There is no impulse to remain and no sense of leaving. The mind does not attempt to deepen this quiet or preserve it. Stillness sustains itself naturally, without guidance or control, as though effort itself has fully withdrawn. In this interior state, where every question is ended and even the sense of resting has softened beyond recognition, the mind continues to exist quietly within itself, allowing awareness to remain calm, diffuse, and undisturbed, held within a presence that does not progress or resolve, but simply continues to be, even, gentle, and complete. This quiet interior condition continues without any sense of transition, as though the mind has gently released even the idea of remaining within a state. There is no feeling of holding this calm in place, and no concern that it could change. Awareness does not monitor itself. It does not recognize stillness as something occurring. What exists here feels entirely self-sustaining, resting without effort, without intention, and without reference to anything outside itself. Attention no longer functions as movement or placement. It does not drift, and it does not settle. It exists evenly, spread throughout the interior field, without center or edge. Nothing draws awareness closer, and nothing recedes from it. Experience is touched so lightly that it no longer feels like contact. Awareness and what is present feel gently aligned, coexisting without distinction or hierarchy. Thought has softened beyond absence. Even the memory of thinking no longer arises clearly. When the faintest trace appears, it does not take shape as idea, image, or word. It passes without recognition, dissolving before awareness can register it as content. There is no interruption when this happens, because nothing was being followed. Stillness remains continuous, unbroken, and undisturbed. The interior space here no longer feels like space. It does not suggest openness, depth, or enclosure. It feels like the natural condition of awareness itself, without qualities that can be measured or named. There is no sense of emptiness waiting to be filled, and no sense of fullness that could overflow. Presence exists quietly, complete and sufficient without contrast. Time has released all remaining influence in this state. There is no awareness of duration, no sense of sequence or unfolding. The present does not feel sustained or fleeting. It simply exists, unmoving and whole. Waiting has dissolved entirely, and memory no longer reaches. Awareness rests outside of before and after, without reference to progression. Emotion has softened into a near invisible neutrality. Feelings no longer appear as distinct states. They blend seamlessly into awareness, losing boundaries and intensity. There is no emotional tone that requires attention or response. Balance does not feel achieved or maintained. It feels inherent, as though nothing could disturb it from within. The sense of identity is thinned until it no longer forms even a subtle outline. There is no internal reference point that could be called self. Awareness does not observe itself or define itself. Being continues quietly, without narrative, without description, and without the need to be recognized as being. The body remains present only as a distant, gentle suggestion. Sensations do not announce themselves. Breath continues softly, unnoticed and uncounted. There is no impulse to adjust, monitor, or respond. The mind has fully released its supervisory role, allowing physical existence to unfold on its own, quietly and undisturbed. Silence here does not feel like something that has replaced sound. It feels like the underlying condition in which sound, thought, and sensation once appeared. There is no anticipation of noise returning and no memory of it fading. Silence is not surrounding awareness. It is inseparable from it, steady and effortless. If awareness remains here, it does so without intention. There is no desire to stay and no impulse to move away. The mind does not attempt to deepen or preserve this quiet. Stillness sustains itself naturally, without guidance, without effort, and without the need to be noticed. In this interior depth, where every question has ended and even the sense of resting has dissolved, the mind continues to exist quietly within itself, allowing awareness to remain calm, diffuse, and held within a presence that does not progress or resolve, but simply continues to be, even, gentle, and complete. Block 9. The mind now rests in a condition where even the idea of interior space has softened beyond usefulness, and awareness no longer orients itself as being inside anything at all. There is no sense of depth or surface, no impression of layers unfolding or settling. What remains feels evenly present, as though awareness has released every reference point it once used to locate itself. Nothing draws attention inward, and nothing invites it outward. Presence exists without direction. Awareness here does not feel like something that belongs to the mind. It feels more like a quiet openness in which the mind itself dissolves. There is no effort to remain aware and no concern that awareness could fade. Presence does not fluctuate or pulse. It remains steady and unremarkable, balanced in a way that does not require recognition or protection. Attention has released its final habits. It does not rest on sensation, and it does not drift through thought. It does not observe, and it does not avoid. The idea of paying attention no longer applies. What exists is a gentle coexistence between awareness and whatever remains, so light that it no longer feels like contact. Nothing stands out, and nothing recedes. Everything feels equally quiet. Thought has faded beyond trace or memory. There's no sense of thoughts appearing or disappearing. Even the absence of thought no longer registers as a state. The mind no longer relates to itself through language, image, or meaning. Mental activity is softened so completely that stillness no longer feels like an alternative to thinking. It feels like the natural condition beneath all thinking that once occurred. The sense of inner space has dissolved entirely. There is no openness and no enclosure. There is no emptiness and no fullness. Awareness does not feel contained, and it does not feel expansive. It feels sufficient, complete without comparison, existing without contrast or boundary. The mind no longer occupies space. It simply is. Time here has no remaining influence. There is no awareness of duration or sequence. The present does not replace another moment, and it does not extend forward. Waiting has ended so completely that even the idea of waiting feels foreign. Memory does not reach back, and anticipation does not lean ahead. Awareness exists outside of before and after, resting without movement. Emotion has softened beyond recognition. Feelings no longer arise as tones or states. They're blended entirely into presence, losing any distinct quality that could be named. There is no emotional neutrality to notice, because there is no contrast against which it could be felt. Balance does not feel achieved. It feels assumed, as though nothing could disturb it from within. The sense of identity has dissolved fully into presence. There is no point of reference that could be called self. Awareness does not observe itself or define itself. Being continues quietly, without narrative, without boundary, and without the need to be recognized as being. Existence feels light and unencumbered, free of description. The body remains only as a distant, almost abstract suggestion. Sensations do not announce themselves. Breath continues gently, unnoticed and unmeasured. There is no impulse to adjust or respond. Physical existence unfolds without supervision, without commentary, without drawing awareness back into form. Silence here is not experienced as quietness following sound. It is the underlying condition in which sound, thought, and sensation once appeared. There is no anticipation of noise returning, and no memory of it fading. Silence is inseparable from awareness itself, steady and effortless, without edges or depth. If awareness remains here, it does so without intention or effort. There is no desire to stay and no sense of leaving. The mind does not attempt to deepen or preserve this stillness. Stillness sustains itself naturally, without guidance, without control, and without the need to be noticed. In this interior condition, where every question is ended, and even the idea of a mind has softened beyond form, presence continues quietly on its own, allowing awareness to remain even, diffuse, and undisturbed, held within a stillness that does not progress or resolve, but simply continues to be calm, sufficient, and complete. This condition of quiet presence continues without transition, as though even the idea of continuation has softened beyond relevance. Nothing holds this stillness in place, and nothing threatens to alter it. Awareness does not recognize itself as remaining. It does not compare this moment to any other. What exists here feels entirely self-sustaining, resting without effort and without reference to anything that might come before or after. Awareness no longer feels positioned anywhere. It does not feel inside the mind, and it does not feel spread across experience. The sense of location has dissolved completely. Presence exists without being placed, without being oriented, without being held within any interior boundary. There is no inside and no outside. There is only a gentle, even presence that does not ask to be understood. Attention has released every remaining trace of movement. It does not turn toward sensation or drift away from it. It does not observe, and it does not withdraw. The habit of attending has dissolved entirely. What remains is a quiet coexistence, where awareness, what is present, no longer feels separate. Nothing is selected. Nothing is excluded. Everything rests together without distinction. Thought no longer arises, even as absence. There is no memory of thinking, and no anticipation of it returning. Language does not assemble, and image does not form. Meaning has released its structure completely. The mind no longer relates to itself as something that thinks or stops thinking. Stillness is not experienced as an alternative. It is simply what remains. The sense of space has vanished beyond recognition. There is no openness and no enclosure. There is no sense of depth or surface. Awareness does not occupy space, and space does not surround awareness. These distinctions have softened entirely. What exists here feels sufficient without extension, complete without boundary, present without dimension. Time has released its final influence. There is no awareness of duration, no sense of sequence, no impression of a present replacing another. Waiting has dissolved completely. Memory has no reach, and anticipation has no ground. Awareness exists without reference to before, after, or during. Presence holds itself without movement. Emotion no longer appears as tone or state. Feelings have softened beyond recognition, blending entirely into presence. There is no neutrality to notice, because there is no contrast against which it could be felt. Balance is not experienced. It is simply assumed, inherent, and undisturbed. Identity has dissolved fully. There is no sense of self-observing or being observed. There is no reference point that could be called I. Awareness does not define itself and does not need to be confirmed. Being continues quietly, without description, without boundary, and without narrative. The body remains only as a distant, almost abstract suggestion. Sensation does not arise clearly enough to draw awareness back into form. Breath continues, gently, unnoticed, and unmeasured. Physical existence unfolds without supervision, without commentary, and without calling attention to itself. Silence here is not something that replaces sound. It is the underlying condition in which sound, thought, and sensation once appeared. There is no anticipation of disturbance, and no memory of noise fading away. Silence and awareness are no longer distinct. They rest together as the same quiet presence. There is no anticipation of change, and no sense of completion being reached. Nothing forms, and nothing fades in any way that can be noticed. This is not an ending, and not a beginning. It is a sustained stillness, where even the idea of sustaining has softened. In this final interior quiet, where every question has ended and even the notion of a mind has dissolved, presence continues gently on its own, allowing awareness to remain even, undisturbed, and unpressured, held within a stillness that does not progress or resolve, but simply continues to be calm, sufficient, and complete. Block 10. The mind now rests in a condition where even the idea of interior quiet has softened beyond recognition, and awareness no longer experiences itself as entering or remaining anywhere. There's no sense of arrival, no impression that something has been reached or completed. What exists here feels timeless and unmarked, as though every movement that once defined mental activity has gently dissolved into a shared stillness that no longer needs to be named. Presence no longer feels anchored to a mind, a body, or a point of observation. It does not feel spread out or concentrated. It simply exists, even and unpressured, without reference to location or boundary. There is no sense of awareness being held, and no sense of it holding anything else. Being continues quietly, without orientation or effort. Attention has released its final structure. It does not attend to sensation, and it does not withdraw from it. It does not observe, and it does not ignore. The function of attention itself has softened into what remains is a gentle coexistence, where awareness and whatever is present no longer appear separate. Nothing is selected, and nothing is excluded. Everything rests within the same calm presence. Thought has dissolved beyond trace, beyond memory, beyond absence. There is no awareness of thinking stopping, and no anticipation of it returning. Language does not form. Image does not appear. Meaning has released its structure completely. Stillness is no longer experienced as a state opposed to thought. It is simply the natural condition beneath all mental movement that once occurred. The sense of space has dissolved entirely. There is no openness and no enclosure. There is no depth and no surface. Awareness does not occupy space, and space does not surround awareness. These distinctions no longer apply. What exists feels sufficient without extension and complete without boundary, resting without dimension. Time has no remaining influence here. There is no sense of duration, passing, or moments unfolding. The present does not replace another moment. and it does not stretch forward. Waiting has ended so completely that even the concept of waiting feels foreign. Memory has no reach, and anticipation has no ground. Presence exists without reference to before or after. Emotion no longer appears as tone, state, or movement. Feelings have softened beyond recognition, blending entirely into presence itself. There is no neutrality to notice, because there is no contrast against which it could be felt. Balance is not experienced. It is simply inherent, stable, and unmarked. Identity has released completely. There is no sense of self-observing or being observed. There is no internal reference point that could be called I. Awareness does not define itself and does not need to be confirmed. Being continues quietly, without description, without boundary, and without narrative. The body remains only as a distant suggestion, so softened that it does not draw awareness back into form. Sensation does not announce itself. Breath continues gently, unnoticed and unmeasured. Physical existence unfolds without supervision or commentary, without calling attention to itself. Silence here is not something that replaces sound. It is the underlying condition in which sound, thought, and sensation once appeared. There is no anticipation of disturbance, and no memory of noise fading away. Silence and awareness no longer feel distinct. They rest together as the same quiet presence. There is no anticipation of change, and no sense of completion being reached. Nothing forms, and nothing fades in any way that can be noticed. This is not an ending and not a beginning. It is a sustained stillness, where even the idea of sustaining has softened beyond relevance. In this final interior quiet, where every question is ended and even the sense of mind is dissolved, presence continues gently on its own, allowing awareness to remain even, unpressured, and undisturbed, held within a stillness that does not progress or resolve, but simply continues to be calm, sufficient, and complete. This quiet presence continues without any sense of movement or conclusion, as though even the idea of continuation is gently dissolved. There is no feeling that something is being sustained, and no awareness of something coming to rest. What remains feels effortless and complete, not because it has reached an end, but because nothing remains that could suggest change. Awareness does not recognize this stillness as a state. It simply exists within it, without comparison or reference. Presence no longer feels like awareness of anything. It does not feel directed, and it does not feel diffuse. It exists without position, without boundary, and without center. There is no sense of being here rather than elsewhere. The idea of location has softened entirely. What remains is a gentle sameness, even and unmarked, in which nothing stands out and nothing recedes. Attention has released every remaining function. It does not observe, select, or respond. The habit of attending has faded beyond recognition. Awareness and what is present no longer feel separate. There is no subject and no object. There is no inner and no outer. Experience has softened into quiet coexistence without distinction. Thought has dissolved so completely that even the memory of thinking no longer forms. There is no awareness of silence replacing thought, and no anticipation of thought returning. Language does not arise, and image does not appear. Meaning has no structure here. Stillness is not experienced as the opposite of thinking. It is simply what remains when all mental movement has released itself. The sense of space has vanished beyond description. There is no openness and no enclosure, no depth and no surface. Awareness does not exist within space, and space does not exist around awareness. These distinctions have softened entirely. What remains feels complete without extension and whole without boundary, present without dimension. Time has released its final hold. There is no awareness of duration, no sense of sequence, and no impression of moments unfolding. The present does not replace another present. Waiting has disappeared so fully that even the idea of waiting has no meaning. Memory does not reach backward, and anticipation does not lean forward. Presence exists without, before, or after. Emotion no longer appears as tone, movement, or state. Feelings have softened beyond recognition, blending entirely into presence itself. There is no neutrality to be noticed, because there is no contrast against which it could appear. Balance is not experienced. It is inherent and undisturbed. Identity has dissolved completely. There is no sense of self, no observer, and no reference point that could recall me. Awareness does not define itself and does not need confirmation. Being continues quietly, without narrative, without boundary, and without description. The body remains only as the faintest suggestion, so softened that it does not draw awareness back into form. Sensation does not announce itself. Breath continues gently, unnoticed and unmeasured. Physical existence unfolds without supervision, without commentary, and without calling attention to itself. Silence here is not the absence of sound. It is the underlying condition in which sound, thought, and sensation once appeared. There is no anticipation of disturbance, and no memory of noise fading away. Silence and awareness no longer feel separate. They rest together as the same quiet presence. There is no anticipation of change and no sense of completion being reached. Nothing forms and nothing dissolves in any way that can be noticed. This is not an ending and not a beginning. It is a sustained stillness, where even the idea of sustaining has softened beyond relevance. Here, where every question has ended and even the notion of a mind has gently dissolved, presence continues on its own, calm and allowing awareness to remain evenly held within a stillness that does not progress, does not resolve, and does not conclude, but simply continues to be quiet, sufficient, and at rest.